It's always fun to see actors doing something to massively change up their appearance for a new movie role. Because, as devilishly good looking as most A-listers might be, it's rather neat to see them disappear into a part with totally reckless abandon. Sometimes this results in a seamless physical transformation where the actor is scarcely recognizable underneath. Yet every so often it might result in a look that, well, is tough not to laugh at, for better or worse. And the latter is absolutely true of these 10 actors and the get-ups they're rocking for their next movies. Whether it's intended or not, they're touting some truly credibility-straining guises. Whether a result of shamelessly silly makeup, a dodgy haircut, wonky CGI, or the sort of outfit we just never expected to see them wearing. Again, it's all about tone and execution at the end of the day. For films and actors that are in on the joke, these styles may turn out totally fine. But where there's serious intent on the part of the cast and crew, well, these howlingly daft looks might threaten to derail the entire thing. As ever though, only time will tell. For now, I'm Gareth, this is What Culture, and here are 10 actors who look ridiculous in upcoming movies. Number 10, Glen Close, The Deliverance. Lee Daniels' upcoming horror film, The Deliverance, is based on the real-life LaToya Ammon's family possession, in which Ammons, her mother, and her 3 children claim their Indiana home was subject to paranormal activity. We know that Glen Close will reportedly play the aforementioned grandmother character, Alberta. And though wider plot details remain thin on the ground, Netflix has released a single photo of Close on set in full makeup. And well, if eyebrows could kill, Close is nothing if not an acting chameleon, and she certainly seems to be disappearing into whatever the hell this is supposed to be. She proved in Hillbilly Elegy that she can make the best of a ridiculous makeup job and chew through the scenery with the best of them. So hopefully she'll do just the very same here, right? And hilariously, Daniels actually tweeted the following of Close's work on the film. Glen Close, I love you for having the balls to play this white woman that we've never before seen on screen. That's one way to get people's attention, I guess. Number 9, Christian Bale, The Bride. Christian Bale has never been afraid to put himself out there and risk looking a bit daft. A fact reaffirmed by our first look at him portraying Frankenstein's monster in Maggie Gyllenhaal's The Bride with an exclamation point. The production is clearly going for a very, extra rendition of the monster, what with the massive sutures spanning Bale's entire forehead. But what's truly silly about this look is the word "nope" tattooed on his chest. Yep, there it is. It's very reminiscent of the infamous damage tattoo on the forehead of Jared Leto's Joker in Suicide Squad, a character who may well have ruined text tattoos in cinema forevermore. Now, this isn't to say that Bale's iteration of the monster is attempting the same level of self-conscious edginess, but without its full context, the tattoo is certainly flirting with cringe. In any case, Bale is sure to give a committed enough performance that audiences will probably be willing to forgive a dopey-looking tattoo or two. It's just what he does, isn't it? Or hell, perhaps it'll all actually just make sense in the film itself. Well, I'll just have to wait and see. And while we're talking about actor transformations for roles, I've got a quick question for you. What actor did you think became completely unrecognizable for a part? You let me know in the comment section down below. Now back to this video. Number 8, Joseph Quinn and Fred Heschinger, Gladiator II. Ridley Scott's hotly anticipated Gladiator II certainly looks wild from the frothy first trailer that recently dropped. And no 2 actors in this film are letting their freak flags fly higher than Joseph Quinn and Fred Heschinger. Quinn and Heschinger will play villainous emperor brothers Gita and Caracalla, who rule Rome with an iron fist, and if the marketing is any indication, are one hell of a sick twisted duo for hero Lucius to deal with. More to the point, Quinn and Heschinger are certainly made up to look as supremely punchable as humanly possible with their absurd hair and makeup, while their hyena-like giggling makes them basically impossible to take seriously in their appointed positions. There is no doubt at all that audiences are gonna absolutely love to hate this duo. Man, I am so ready for this movie. Number 7, everyone, Borderlands. Now let's face it, it'd be hugely disappointing if the cast of a Borderlands video game adaptation didn't look completely absurd. And so, in that respect, the long gestating movie completely understands the assignment. Where to even begin, right? The stacked ensemble cast is led by Cate Blanchett's Lilith, rocking bright red hair and, in the opinion of some fans, being a touch too old to play the character as depicted in the video games. Elsewhere, we've got Kevin Hart looking decidedly not swole as video game Beefcake Jake Rowland, Ariana Greenblatt rocking the bunny ears to play Tiny Tina, and Jamie Lee Curtis kicking ass in rose-tinted glasses and a red velvet suit as Tannis. Because why the hell not? Casting gripes aside, the roster at least looks committed to the pulpy, cartoonish, wildly over-the-top insanity of the video game namesake. Like if any of the actors looked totally normal playing their parts here, it'd honestly be a bit worrying. Number 6, Tom Hanks and Robin Wright here. Robert Zemeckis' new drama here certainly boasts a fascinating premise, unfolding from a single camera perspective as the space it observes changes over millions of years. The narrative is framed by the lives of couple Richard and Margaret, and ever want to experiment with bold new technology, Zemeckis has employed cutting-edge generative AI software to digitally de-age the duo for their characters' more youthful scenes. Except the trailer doesn't exactly make a stellar case that the tech is ready for primetime, given that the younger versions of Richard and Margaret have a blatantly uncanny, plasticky quality about them. Now, it's definitely still impressive work to a point, but particularly when Hanks and Wright get close to the static camera, the illusion, well, it completely breaks down. And when the audience is distracted by these excessively smoothed out faces and weirdly vacant eyes, it's probably fair to say that the technology has abjectly failed in its purpose. Thank you very much for checking out this video, you lovely person. Now tap that subscribe button if you like, and you'll get more of these What Culture videos every damn day. Now back to this video. Number 5, Jack Kesey, Hellboy the Crooked Man. The recent first trailer for Hellboy the Crooked Man, that is Hollywood's third attempt at making cinematic fetch happen with the comic book character, didn't exactly go down swimmingly online, with many pointing to how cheap this new take looked. But even accepting the we have Hellboy at home of it all, a major sticking point proved to be the look of Hellboy himself. Now this isn't to denigrate the acting talent of lead Jack Kesey in any way, but he's clearly not served well at all by the production's cheap-looking makeup work, which pales massively in comparison to the more elaborate and detailed prosthetics applied to Ron Perlman and David Harbour in prior Hellboy movies. He's even missing the character's trademark yellow eyes. I mean, come on. Here, Kesey's take on Hellboy basically just looks like a pretty good cosplay. For a major motion picture, he simply looks too human and not nearly monstrous enough. It's honestly tough to look at this version of the character and think, yep, that's Hellboy, alright. Number 4, Dwayne Johnson, the Smashing Machine. It is incredibly rare for Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to look like anything but himself. He's clearly an actor who relishes putting himself and his brand out there. But for his new A24 sports drama, The Smashing Machine, he's undergoing a transformation like nothing we've ever seen from him before. In order to more closely resemble former wrestler and martial artist Mark Kerr, Johnson had his face covered in prosthetics, enough that even though we know we're looking at The Rock here, he looks just different enough to make us all question ourselves for a second. Add to this a full head of hair which Johnson hasn't sported in about 15 years, and his distinctive tattoos being covered with makeup, and it's indeed a massive physical change. Makeup this radical certainly runs the risk of looking a bit silly, so we'll probably have a better idea of how well it works when the first trailer drops. All the same, it's tough not to chuckle at the thought of Johnson playing a 29-year-old MMA fighter for at least a portion of the movie. An age he's close to doubling in reality, but he might smash it out of the park, who knows? See what I did there? Number 3, Dennis Quaid, Reagan. It was really just a matter of time before Hollywood produced a biopic of US President Ronald Reagan, and said film will see Dennis Quaid play the part. While on paper he doesn't seem like an outrageous or particularly left-field casting choice, being a chiseled-jawed, middle-aged American man and all, once the first image of Quaid in character was released, well, it was tough not to laugh. The first look at Quaid's Reagan was basically just Dennis Quaid wearing a cowboy hat. That is it, that's the look. While on one hand it's laudable that the filmmakers didn't slather Quaid in pounds of suffocating makeup to try and have him more closely resemble his subject, it ultimately looks like the lowest effort possible attempt to have the actor embody the late POTUS. Hell, Quaid really bears more of a natural resemblance to Richard Nixon, honestly, so that's probably the part he should have played instead. Yep, probably. Number 2, Mark Wahlberg, Flight Risk. The trailer for Mark Wahlberg's new action thriller, Flight Risk, gives audiences 2 plot twists for the price of 1. Firstly, it's revealed that Wahlberg's pilot character, Daryl Booth, is actually a hitman tasked with assassinating the very informant he's transporting. And secondly, Wahlberg's character is also bald up top. Only midway through the trailer, when Booth's hat is knocked off his head, do we catch our first glimpse at Marky Mark's unexpected hairstyle. And while there's certainly nothing wrong with a bald head, speaking from experience, it's incredibly difficult to take that naff-looking hairpiece seriously. Every single second that Walberg is on screen, it is painfully obvious we're just looking at a not remotely believable ball cap stretched over his real hair, ensuring that it's tough not to just laugh hysterically at the whole situation. Granted, if the movie's tone leans into the camp, as the trailer suggests it might, then this doesn't need to be a huge problem. Again though, we'll just have to wait and see. Number 1, Elijah Wood, Bookworm. And finally, Elijah Wood is another actor who's never shied away from serving some distinctly weird looks over the years. And he'll evidently add another to the growing pile with his role in upcoming New Zealand adventure comedy Bookworm. Wood plays Strawn Wise, a down-on-his-luck magician who takes his estranged daughter Mildred on a camping trip to try and track a mythical beast called the Canterbury Panther. The overwhelming majority of Wood's roles, even those distinctly odd ones, still see him sporting a pronounced babyface. Yet in Bookworm, he's rocking a sizable beard and long hair, a rarest of styles for him. The irony, of course, is that Wood has assembled his most disheveled look not to play a serial killer, concerning creep, or just general weirdo, but a washed-up father just trying to bond with his daughter in a film that's very clearly aimed at the family crowd. Always keeping us on our toes, Master Frodo.